Welcome back again. It's Dr. Ryan here. I'm a chiropractor here in Australia, and today we're going to be reviewing the Fine Light Scrubs from FIGS. So we're going to be looking at the general cost of them compared to their core scrubs at FIGS, as well as the new material that they're touting as, I guess, the new type of fabric that's the way to go. So we're going to have a look at what's different about it, if it actually works, and if it's a good purchase. So in the mail yesterday arrived my box of goodies. There's a couple other things in there that we're going to review a little bit later as well, with a jacket and some other core scrubs. However, this is the one I've been most interested in, and to be honest, I actually bought these for the colour. I really like the Caribbean blue that we've got, as you can see here today, and they tend to sell out pretty quick. So when these came about, even though it was a different fabric from their core scrubs, I thought, well, let's give this a go and have a look. And even though I'm not operating in a theatre or with animals that leave fur on me, as a chiropractor we do get quite close to people. Essentially we're with people all day in close proximity. We do tend to get quite grubby just because there's tradesmen and all sorts of people working that will leave dirt and dust and different things on us. So I thought these would be worth a try because they're touted as the easy clean, moisture wicking, anti-static, anti-wrinkle, anti-odor, all the good stuff that we look for in clothing. So let's have a look and see how it performs. So what you see me wearing today is Caribbean Blue Fine Light Chiswick 3 Pocket Scrub. Now when I looked at this I thought, well, where are these pockets? And cleverly, I've just got our standard one here, we actually have two hidden pockets on each side here, and I found that quite tricky because I don't really like the ones that sit in the front very much. These ones are quite nicely tucked away. We've also got the Men's Caribbean Blue Fine Light Chiro Cargo Pants Scrubs, which have plenty of pockets in them. So a few features looking at the Chiro pants. We have a drawstring around the waistband as well as elastic in there, which as a medium, I did need to tighten up a little bit to make comfortable. Then we've got two pockets at the front here. Got two pockets at the back. We've also got spots on the side here. So there's two pockets here and here. And we have quite a large pocket in here with a small side pocket, which I guess the size of that, you could almost be, I guess you could fit your phone in there quite well, maybe even an iPad, but plenty of room for notes and the like if you needed to carry something around in there. And these are both the medium. So to give you a sizing guide, I'm 5'10", about 70 kilos, definitely a lightweight sort of person, and this is a medium. You probably could go small if you want a tighter fit, but this has enough room to be quite comfortable and moving around, which is what we do a lot of as chiropractors. So in terms of pricing, this fabric's being touted as the bee's knees. We're looking at having it being ultra lightweight, 4-way stretch, water repellent, anti-static, so fur and things like if you're a vet doesn't get on it. It's a recycled fabric as well. And we're going to have a look at each of those and see if it lives up to expectations. But in terms of pricing, you'd think with all these new extra qualities, a higher percentage of recycled fabric and the like, you think, well, this is probably going to cost a bit more because it's likely the manufacturing process is more or the cost of sourcing the material is more. However, interestingly, the core scrubs on FIGS are about $55 for the top and just over $60 for the pants. They can get up to $70 if you get in the cargo pants. So I thought, all right, well, let's have a look. And surprisingly, they're actually the same price. So you can still get the core scrubs or the Fine Light scrubs for the same price, which I thought was pretty good. But I would say, look out for a coupon code. FIGS are notorious for offering discounts, and usually you can get a 50% off discounts purely from subscribing from the newsletter or to search for a coupon online. There's plenty of influencers out there on Instagram and YouTube that will also have their own personalized promo codes that I'd utilize to save yourself 15% on the price. So let's go over the unique qualities that this Fine Light material has supposedly got. First of all, it's touted as being ultra lightweight. And compared to the core scrubs that I've got already, it is noticeably lighter and quite thin. And looking at the material difference, it is 92% recycled polyester. So it does have quite a, this sounds a bit harsh, but a plasticky feel, I guess because of that higher percentage. I looked at the core scrubs and they also have a high percentage, about 76% polyester, but it's mixed with spandex and rayon, where this is 92% polyester and 8% elastin. So it does have a little bit more of a synthetic feel to it. However, I guess balancing that out, it is extremely light. And I usually tend to wear something under my scrubs anyway, so it doesn't feel funny against your skin. It's just noticeable, I guess, when you start touching it. But I imagine that's how they get that water repellent quality that this fabric has. So things like, imagine if you're a dentist, and I was speaking to a dental assistant, dental nurse the other day, who said they would be amazing because they're constantly getting splashed with different things, and the scrubs that they wear simply absorb that. So I think this would be a great thing if you're operating around wet areas or with bodily fluids, things like that you don't want to sit on your clothes. It would wash off pretty well. Thankfully, as a chiropractor, we don't come across that too often. However, I'm looking forward to how easy it might be to say dust and dust off or MAC or something like that. Right, the second quality that they tout is the 4-way stretch. So a bit like their core scrubs, the weave that they've got in this material does allow for some stretch, but I'd probably say this doesn't have quite as much stretch as the core scrubs. We can still do like squats and move around quite freely in them, but they're definitely not like an active wear material where they're really stretching. They've just got a bit of give. So they're more than, say, a cotton type of scrub or something that's a bit crisper. But yeah, I think that's something to keep in mind. If you really want a lot of stretch, I'd be looking more at core scrubs than the Fine Light. Now, the anti-static component, I've heard the vets absolutely love this because when they're working with animals all day and they're shedding hair, by the end of the day, they're covered in all sorts of animal hair, whether it's a horse, a dog, a cat, whatever it might be. And so I'm looking forward to testing this out, because not that I end up with dog hair all over me all day. However, we are dealing with people all day, and we're walking on carpet, and we do often get electric shocks from zapping each other because I guess we just build up static electricity with things. So I'm hoping that doesn't happen, because I absolutely hate getting zapped and shocked. And this would be a really great idea if this solves it. So we'll wait and see. But of course, if it does repel some of the dust and dirt that is attracted through static electricity as well, that would be fantastic. In terms of the material, as we talked about, it is a highly synthetic material, but Fix has sort of gone the next level in terms of looking at recycled fabric, which I think is a great thing. There's so much wastage in terms of fabrics through the world. It's great to be able to utilize it. I was just checking the website just then actually to look at a bit more information on this material, and there mustn't be that much around because they've already sold out of the Fine Light scrubs, both tops, bottoms, and I think the only thing left are jackets. So it's quite interesting to see that this is in a high demand, and by the time I've received them from ordering them the day that they're available, they're already sold out. So sorry, you may not be able to get this exact set. However, if there's a jacket, or I'm sure they'll put more on the market in the future if it sells out that well, it's worth having a look at. So in terms of how they feel on the body, I think it's going to take a little bit of getting used to, just because they are so light. They're almost like wearing a pair of nylon track pants. Like, they're very, very light and thin. And I think going from their core scrubs, which have a little bit more density to the material, I'll get used to it. It's not a negative, it just feels very different, very light. So I think if you're in cooler climates, you're probably going to need some form of underscrub or thermals under them, just because they're not going to hold the heat very well. However, they are comfortable, they move around. I think one of the things to be aware of is they might be a little bit noisy when you're walking around, just because they have that crisp sort of synthetic texture to them. But I mean, it's not a negative. It's just one of those weigh-ups that you have to make. If you want those qualities of a synthetic material, you have to deal with the other components of it, which we just spoke about. So my final thoughts on these: as a chiropractor, we don't tend to wear scrubs all that often. We just tend to be going that way now for, I guess, infection control and hygiene during this pandemic. However, I'm starting to really enjoy wearing them. 1, for comfort, 2, for ease of mobility, 3, they're very easy to wash. Usually we're wearing essentially like a suit. Suit pants, button-up shirt, sometimes even a tie, jacket, and it does take a bit to clean. You often have to get them dry cleaned, or you're washing and pressing. These are a much more low maintenance option, and particularly when it comes to this time, and I think even going into the future, where we're looking at really making sure we're not bringing things home with us, scrubs are a fantastic choice. And I think these are a great option, because you can simply walk straight to the laundry, dump everything off, go home in a fresh pair of clothes, and you can just pick them up from the dryer the next day and they're good to go. These wash very easily, thankfully. I've had several pairs now that seem to do that quite well, and they dry really well. They're not taking a huge amount of ironing or anything to sort out as well, which I love. Low maintenance, it's a great way to go, and comfort wise, I can't recommend them enough in that respect, particularly for those professions that you are moving around a lot in, getting quite physical with your movements, particularly as chiropractors or even physical therapists. I imagine this is going to be a great option for them. So we've just done a full day in these new Fine Light scrubs, and I must say, I know initially I mentioned it does feel a bit synthetic, a bit polyestery, but I think by the end of the day it's very comfortable. It feels very natural and normal, dust free, static free, feeling great. Thankfully I haven't had any spillages on it. Hopefully don't have one now. But yeah, give it a tick of approval. I think if I was to choose, and I know I said I picked this one mainly for the colour, but I think if I was to choose, I'd probably stick with the core scrub fabric, that mixture of spandex, rayon, and the polyester. I think it's just a much more fabric feel, but I love the colour, and I think it's worth giving that sacrifice for the colour versus the feel of it. But still, I'm very happy with the way this fabric's held up with a day, with looking after a lot of tradesmen and things with dust and dirt, and I'm as clean as I was when I started. So I'll give these a wash. We'll see how they pull up after that. But yeah, I'll give it a tick of approval.